Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Made You Book. My name's Gretchen and here we are on the eve of the Booker Prize winner being announced for 2023. I figured I would just take a few minutes to kind of review the books that are on the shortlist and then make a final prediction about who I think is going to be the winner that takes it all. Now, each of the books is a contender in its own way. I can completely understand how all of these books made it to both the long list and the short list, but there is one book that can win, and I have a personal pick of what my favorite book was and what book I think is going to win. So let's talk about a couple things. So first we have Study for Obedience. So this book is interesting because it just won the Giller Prize. I'm actually not sure if we've ever had a double winner with the Giller and the Booker. This was really the first year I ever followed the Giller, so I'll have to look into that. But will the judges take that into consideration? I don't know. What I will say is this was a 5-star read for me. I absolutely loved it. It was not plot-based, but it was atmospheric. It was creepy. It made me feel dread and uneasiness. And it's one of those books where you don't necessarily know what's going on and happening, and you can kind of create your own plot, which I absolutely loved. And I would love to see this book win because it was a 5-star and for that way that it made me feel. And I'm so happy that it won the Giller, because if it doesn't win the Booker, it's still gonna get the recognition that it deserves for being an amazing book. So I was super happy to see it take that prize, and who knows, will we have a Giller Booker, run where they take both? We'll see. But yeah, loved this, would love to see it win, but I don't know. Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. So this book, I would say, is probably the most relevant culturally and within our current world. This is a political thriller that talks about a society that goes from a free democracy very quickly to an authoritarian society. It is scary. It is tragic, some of the things that are happening. It's one of those, it's pulse quickening. It was a very good read, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. I know there were a lot of folks out there that didn't get along with it because of the formatting, but for those that were able to get through it, there have been a lot of readers that have enjoyed it and have put this at the top of their list. So we'll see. This is only the first of 3 Pauls that are on the short list. So will we have a Paul winner? We might. And if we do, I think that Prophet Song is probably one of the stronger contenders. But we'll see what happens. Oh, one other thing that I think is very unfortunate about this book, it has nothing to do with the book, but it hasn't been released in the States yet. So my fear for this book is that if it doesn't win the Booker, is it going to get as much buzz or readers picking it up in the States? I think that I was hoping that they bumped the release day up once it got shortlisted, but I still have yet to see it on the shelves. I've heard other Americans that have been wanting to get their hands on it and still have not been able to. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that they would even take into consideration. I don't think that it should be, but I certainly hope that if Prophet Song doesn't win, that it doesn't discourage any readers in America from picking this up, because it is definitely worth a read and it definitely deserved to be on the short list this year. Another Paul, we have Paul Harding with This Other Eden. So I also very much enjoyed this book. This book was one of those ones that forced me to continue my journey with it even after I finished it. It tells of another tragic part of our U.S. history that I was not aware of, and it forced me to go and learn more about that. So I loved the book for that reason. But one thing I will say about this book is it was also nominated for the National Book Award and it didn't win. So is it strong enough to not win the National but win the Booker? I don't think so. I would be very surprised to see this book take it. Once again, is that something that the Booker judges would even take into consideration? I'm not sure, but even though I loved this book, stood up against some of these other books, I just don't think that it's strong enough. But the story was fantastic and I encourage anybody to read it. But yeah, I honestly don't see this winning, but I could be wrong. Of course I could be wrong. Okay, so this book, Western Lane by Chetna Maru. This was my least favorite book from the entire Booker long list. I promised myself that if it made it to the short list, I would give it a second chance. I did, and nothing changed for me. This is just not the book for me. I didn't connect with it. Although I found the writing to be exquisite, I thought it was lovely. It was simple, but it was still beautiful. I didn't connect with it. And if as a reader you cannot connect with a book, there's nothing that you can do to change that, and it just cannot redeem itself. However, I will say that this is kind of the Booker darling. Everybody that has read this book seems to love it. I am definitely the exception. And trust me, like I personally think that there's something that I'm missing because everybody loves it so much. And that's why I gave it a second read, to see what it was that I was missing. And I still have yet to find it. But because of the love that everybody has for it, this could be a sleeper. It could just slip right in there and take everything. And if it does, I think that that's great. This is a debut novel, so how fun would it be for a debut author to win the Booker? I think that would be great for her. But I'm also super excited to pick up other books by her. I hope that she writes more. I did love her writing style. I loved how beautiful her writing is. I just didn't vibe with the subject matter. I wanted more. I thought that she could do more. I don't think that she wanted to do more, and that was purposeful, but that's on me. That's not on her. I think that in the future, I will definitely pick up more from her. And if she does win, I think, like I said, I think that that would be great. It's okay that I didn't get along with this book. There are other prizes that have been announced where I didn't get along with the book, and that was fine. What matters is that everybody else enjoyed it. And I am so happy for her that with her very first book, she was able to get so much exposure and everybody seemed to love this book. So this could very well take home the prize. And then we have If I Survive You by Jonathan Escoffery. So this is another one of those books that its previous history with other book prizes, I don't know if that's going to limit this book. So it was nominated for the National Book Award last year. It did not win. And I question whether or not this book should have been on the short list in the first place, or the long list in the first place, I should say. These are deemed as interconnected short stories, and the more that I think about those stories, the less I seem to feel that they are interconnected. They're interconnected in names of characters and the characters that are in them, but there are also kind of standalone stories that are only connected by a character name, and it wasn't even a main character of the story. They maybe had a single line, or the name may just have been mentioned. So I know there was a lot of controversy about this making it in the first place. Would the Booker judges be so bold to choose a book that so many people questioned the validity of it even being on the list? I don't know. I did enjoy this short story collection, but I do have to say the strongest story in this for me was the one that I felt was a standalone, because it didn't, personally for me, I didn't feel like it connected to the other stories the way that a connected short story collection should. So yeah, I don't foresee this winning, but it doesn't mean it wasn't a good book. I enjoyed the stories, but I don't foresee it taking the prize. I think it was actually an accomplishment for this to even get shortlisted, if I'm honest. But maybe they're going to make a statement this year. Maybe this is going to be what gets short stories into the Booker contention in the future. I don't know. But personally, I don't think that this is going to be the winner. And then the last book that we have is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. So this particular book I loved. This was a 5-star read for me. I think of any of these books that I have in front of me, if we're to look ahead 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, 15, this is going to be the book that withstands the test of time. And this has personally for me, this has all the ingredients for a modern classic. There is not a piece of subject matter that isn't covered in this book. It is an epic book. It is quite the long book, but it covers so much. There are so many layers to it. There is so much going on. It is a long book, but it is a propulsive read. The ending had me floored. There's just so much in this book. And I think that every reader, because there is so many ambitious themes that are covered, because there are so many, every reader is going to find something to connect with in this book. And very rarely do I read books where I can say that about. This had everything, and it was not only a gripping read, but it was beautifully written, and I am still floored and astounded how Paul Murray was able to put all of this together. I think about this book all the time still. It's always popping up, and I'm always thinking about it. Like I said, the ending, I think everything about this book is genius. And if I had to say, like I said, of the other ones that are here, based solely on where I think those books will be in the future, this is the book. This is that modern classic in my opinion. Now, is that enough to get the Booker judges to choose this as the winner? I don't know. We'll see, I suppose. So, taking all of those things into consideration, if I had to pick a personal book that I wanted to see win and the one that I am pulling for, it is going to be The Bee Sting. This is the one that I want to see win. I loved this. I thought that it was excellent. There's something in here for everyone. And I think that part of what I loved about this is that, like I said, it was such an ambitious book. And when you get into books that are ambitious, they can very easily fall flat on their face. And Paul Murray just shined with this one. So this is my personal pick. This is the one that I want to see walk away with the prize, with A Study for Obedience being a very short second. But the fact that it won the Giller, I think that the Booker is going to give some love to another author, and my hope is that it is The Bee Sting. Now, if I had to choose what I think the Booker judges are going to pick, my thoughts are going to be that they're going to go with Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This was another great book, but I think that this is a book that is very relevant to our current times. I think that we're going to see a lot more of this book, I would hope, like I said, with the US release coming up. And if either of these books, whether it's Prophet Song or if it's The Bee Sting, I would be happy because I got along with all of the books except Western Lane. Sorry. But I would honestly be happy to see any of these books win. This was such a good year. And every book brings something different to the table. And I think that it was amazing that the Booker judges that chose the long list and the short list were able to do that. There's something here for everyone. And I think at the end of the day, because there is something for everyone, to me, it's going to come down to what is most relevant in our current world. And of the shortlisted books, I think that Prophet Song has the most to say about our current times and our current world. So my personal pick, once again, is The Bee Sting, but I think that Prophet Song is going to take it. So what are your thoughts? Do you have a prediction? Do you have a personal one you would like to see and the one you think you're going to win, or the one you think is going to win? This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to walk through these books with me. And I am already, like I said, I'm already prepping for the International Booker. So I've gone through my list of all of the books that I personally have, and then I've been going through my library to see what eligible books they have, and I'm kind of putting requests in for the ones that they don't, so that I can get a head start on coming up with a predictions video. I know that's not going to be for a few months, but I'm still excited. I'm still getting ready for the International Booker, because my goal is to get at least 2 predictions right for the International. I only got 1 prediction right this year, which just so happened to be this other Eden. But yeah, I'm excited. And I cannot wait to see who wins. And then this will be another Booker season down. So thank you so much for all of you that have followed along with this Booker journey for me, all of you that have commented, all of you that have watched all my review videos. I am so appreciative of each and every one of you. And until next time, take care. Bye.